What is up, gut health warriors? Welcome back to another episode of the Colitis Scope, where each week we talk about different health topics to help improve your health. Now, I myself have been dealing with ulcerative colitis for the last 6 years and been constantly trying to find ways to improve my health. So today I want to dive deeper and talk about intermittent fasting. So stick around as we dive deeper into this. Now, you've probably heard people talking about intermittent fasting and how it can be a diet. But in reality, it's not really a diet, it's more of a lifestyle, how you're going to eat your food. Now, there have been studies showing that intermittent fasting can not only help your body, but it can also help your brain as well, which again is always a huge thing because our brain is so important when it comes to our health and lifestyle. Because again, if this part up here is not working properly, the rest of the body is going to have a hard time to function as well. Now, again, you've probably heard of intermittent fasting, but you probably haven't looked too deep into it because again, a lot of people think intermittent fasting only recalls of not eating any food. But actually, there are multiple ways to intermittent fasting. The first one is called the 16-8 type of fasting. Now, again, this is the most common type of fasting, but it's not the only one when it comes to intermittent fasting. What this means is that you actually only eat for 8 hours throughout the day. Now, most people, what they do is they actually don't have any breakfast. So they'll wake up in the morning and just have some water, maybe some tea, some coffee, but no food at all at this time. And then right around 12 o'clock, they'll begin to eat their food and have an 8-hour window to consume their food. And then once 8 o'clock rolls around, that's when they stop eating their food and then wait till the next day around noon to eat food again. What this does, it actually allows your body to actually have some time to rest and just relax, because most people will eat constantly throughout the day. They'll have breakfast, a snack, lunch, another snack, dinner, and probably one more snack. And so they're constantly bombarding their GI system by constantly putting food into their body. Now, it's not a bad thing to constantly have food, but again, most people are not usually eating healthy foods. And again, it's usually better to give your GI some rest. Now, I myself, again, dealing with ulcerative colitis, I definitely need to give my body some rest because again, it's already inflamed and it does take some time for that area to heal up, and it needs time because again, if there's food constantly going through there, it's going to keep being inflamed and have a harder time healing up. Now again, that's called the 16-8 rule. You don't have to start at noon, but again, that's what most people do because again, they can eat their lunch, have a snack, and then have their dinner. Some people though do breakfast and lunch and don't have a dinner. Again, it's totally up to you. Now, the other type of fasting is called the eat and stop fast. Now, this is the one that probably most people think of when they think of fasting. And what this is that you don't eat for 24 hours. So you go around the whole day without eating. Now, you eat normal throughout the entire week, but there's one day or maybe 2 days where you don't actually eat any food. You just have some liquids such as water, again, tea, and maybe some coffee, but again, nothing else in your system. Again, what this is going to do, it gives your body a full day rest of not having any food. Now, this one can be a little more trickier because again, if you are exerting a lot of energy at work or lifting weights or working out, things along those lines, it gets a little bit harder because obviously if you don't have any food, you're not going to have a lot of energy. And if you're supposed to be exerting a lot of energy, it gets a little more difficult when it comes to that then. So sometimes people don't really use this one too often. It's more if they know they've had a lot of bad food for a long time, they want to restart or jumpstart their health. And so they'll take a day off and fast that way. And then the last one is called the 500. Some people may call it a little bit different, but this is where you take, again, a few days where you only eat a small amount of calories, about 500, hence the name, where you eat normal, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on Tuesday and Thursday, you only eat about 500 calories. So you're still getting some calories throughout the day. So again, you're gonna get some energy, but again, you're restricting your intake. So obviously, again, you're gonna decrease the amount of food going into your system, but also decrease the amount of pressure going on into, or the amount of the GI has to work to digest that food. So again, the main goal of intermittent fasting is to decrease the amount of work your GI system has to do. Now, I myself, I'm more of a fan of the 16-8 because again, I find it easier to have a window where I can eat the amount of food I want to. And it's not really what type of food, even though again, there's foods that you want to avoid, it's more when you should eat. So again, you can eat for that whole 8-hour period as long as you're getting your calories in. That's always the good thing. Now, some of the things when it comes to intermittent fasting, is actually planning though, because most people don't realize how difficult it is when it comes to planning with intermittent fasting, because most people don't think about, oh, I can only eat at this time frame, I can't eat at this time frame. Most likely when they're going to go out to eat with a spouse or meet up with some friends, things along those lines, because again, you're only supposed to eat at this time period and not all these other time periods. So again, it can be a little difficult when you say to your coworker or your significant other or some family members that, hey, I actually can't have brunch this morning or dinner, depending on when you're doing it. I'm actually fasting. So again, that can get difficult. But also if you're working a lot too, to make sure that you actually set some time aside and actually cook food, because again, you only have that window to eat food. And obviously if you miss that window and you want to try to stick with that 16-8, it's going to be a little more difficult, because again, if you didn't plan to have food around you, you're not going to be able to eat the entire time, and therefore you might not get enough calories, which then can also lead to decreased weight loss, which again is one of the things what happens when you fast, if you fast a lot. So that's one of the concerns I do have with fasting, especially with someone with a GI issue, is that you want to be at a normal, healthy weight before you actually start fasting. Because obviously, if you're really low in weight already and you start losing more weight, you're going to have a lot more negative effects than positive effects. So again, you want to make sure you're at a healthy weight, because that's going to make a huge difference. Now, the other thing when it comes to intermittent fasting, again, if you have a significant other or friends and family, sometimes it's a little easier if everyone does it as well, because again, you're all on the same page. You guys can relate, and it's not as difficult to cook and eat around time frames then, because you guys are both on the same time frame. So that is my take today on intermittent fasting. I hope you guys enjoy this. Again, it's one of those things that I think can be very beneficial, but again, make sure to do your own research and see what would work best for you, because again, each and every one of us is different. So what works for me may not work for you, or what works for you may not work for me. That's just how it is. So again, I hope you enjoy this information. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to this video, make sure just to hit the bell down there, subscribe, because again, it helps this channel grow. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And again, it gets more information out there for people that are suffering with other GI issues, such as ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, and any other autoimmune disease. So again, I just want to put this information out there to help other people. So again, it goes a long way to like and subscribe. So as always, gut health warriors, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.